Hello, everybody. Good day, good morning, good evening, good night. Um, Very welcome to my new live guitar lesson. My name is Tatyana Ryzhkova. I'm happy to see you here, and today we will talk about planting. How, where, and why. You will see today how this technique that actually usually professional guitarists use a lot, how this professional technique can be useful and helpful for you if you are, for example, hobby guitarist or a beginner, or if you're a professional but you or a student but you didn't hear about that will be for sure also something very interesting for you. So thank you very much for joining here. I'm very happy to see you all the year. I'm happy to have such a great geography today. And at this point, also huge thank to all my patrons on patreon.com for your great support. You make these tutorials possible. So thank you so much. We will answer today on the question how, what, where, how long, why, and many others. And of course, the live format is here for communication. So feel free to write me your comments and especially your questions during live stream, and I will be thrilled to answer as many of them as possible. During the information that I will give to you during the class itself, I will try to pick up the questions concerning planting and concerning topics we will talk at this moment. And at the end of the class, if we will have some time, I will try to answer some other questions on other topics. So, if you're ready, I'm ready, let's start. We said planting. What is it? Let us first clear this definition. Planting is not only growing plants, but it's something about preparation. What is it? How we can apply it on the guitar? On the guitar, preparation means first we are talking about right hand, and planting is when you play one string and you prepare your next finger that will play the next note, and you will prepare it a bit earlier than you would do it if you just normally play. How it works specifically, I will show you a bit later. We'll have some videos so you will be able to see my hand very close and very detailed. We will come back to this a bit later, but first let us try to see why do we need to do planting? Why is it so great and useful, and why professional guitarists use it? I have prepared a big list of reasons why is it helpful. You will see it right now on their screen, so you can follow me better. So first of all, you will be able to play faster if you use planting, if you make preparation. Why? Just simple thing, our playing consists always of several phases. First of all, you play one note, and then there is a small part of a time where we sort our fingers, where we find the right string, where we find the right finger and we bring it to the string. Usually it takes from few seconds. If it doesn't work so well, it may be even 5 and more seconds. And by professionals, it takes super less time, less than 1 second, milliseconds of time. And then after this preparational phase, we have the next tone. So we have tone, preparations, making settings, and tone again. If we use planting, we cut this middle part of preparation and we do it already just when we play the previous note or right after that. And because this middle part takes so less time, both notes are going together, and it means you are able to play faster. So this is anyway, if your goal is to increase your speed or to be able to play also lighter, this technique is definitely for you. The second point is accuracy. When you use planting, you will be able to hit right strings more often or even always. For sure, you know this problem. You started to learn the piece, you play it, and actually you know all the notes, but somehow your right hand miss always the right string. Or there are particular spots where you miss right string, or you think that the finger goes to the G string, but then you hear, oh, it was B. Or you hear any scratches on the strings, or you damp any string that actually should sound. All these troubles can be overcome by using planting. So you will be able to play much more clean and much more clear and much more exactly also. Another point is better sound. It's very familiar with the accuracy, but it's a bit different point. Better sound, what is it? When you prepare the finger, it means that you place it already on the string before you hit the string. And here we are at a very sensible point. You will be never ever able to shape a good, beautiful, full, rich, fat, warm sound if you do your stroke from the ear. So you start in the ear, you go on the string, hit it, and then you get as a result any sound, but not the perfect one. To be able to play really, really nice and to have rich sound, we need first to put our finger on the string, and only after that, after we have taken this contact, only after that we hit the string. And only in this small time in between where our finger stays on the string, only then we can make settings for beautiful sound. I don't want to stay for long on this particular topic at this point of shaping of good sound and the fine stroke that has a big influence on the sound. If you are interested to learn a bit more about that, please check my video on YouTube, Ask Tatyana, Flying versus Standing Stroke. If you don't know it, that is for sure something that you need to watch. There I explain very detailed how it works and how you can shape a perfect sound. So the link for this video you will find in the description under this live stream. Next point. Making planting helps against shaking hands. For sure, if you perform, if you have ever performed, if you're a student and you need to perform for your professor, or you need to perform for exam, or you just perform for your friends, or if you make recordings, these are all situations that causes big stress. And because of the stress, what happens very quickly, we noted that our hands started to shake. It's only one of the great things that happen to us. I will not talk about cold hands and wet hands and all these fun things. We are now talking about shaking hands. This is incredibly difficult to keep on playing and to stay calm and to show everything what you can if your right hand is going crazy like that. And of course, as soon as you notice that your right hand is going it's going out of control, and you lose the connection with the strings, of course, we get even more nervous and our hands start to shake even more. And so it's a circle that it's very difficult to break. But there is one good news. Actually, if you will apply planting, if you will prepare your fingers, that will help you to reduce shaking, and you will get much more control with the strings, and that will cause the better feeling in yourself. You will feel much more self-confident, and because of that you will start to relax and your nervousness will go down. So also a big point to think about and to try it out. And the last but not least reason why it's good to use planting is that you get much more expressions. When we talk about music, playing music is not just about playing right rhythm and playing right notes. It's much more. Music is just like telling a story. It's a story with lots of emotions. When we listen to the music, it causes different emotions, different feelings in us in an ideal way. When we make music, we would like to cause emotions by another people, so we want to reach their hearts. So using planting, you get much more control over your sound, you get better control over your volume, and in this way you are able to enrich your dynamical part, and of course, because you feel much more sure and secure on the strings, you start to play around with the color and with different expressive tools. So, very good thing to apply. These are all the reasons why planting is so good. I hope you feel already, tell me, show me. I would like to do it. And we go now immediately to the point, how we do planting. First of all, I would like to show you a small video how it looks when we play normally without thinking about anything, without do any planting. So please take a look at this video, and we will have there I have chosen just a usual combination on fingers, PI, PM, PA, and you see at this video that I bring my finger on the strings in the moment where I want to play it. Now you see the big picture there, and I show you also how it looks from afar. So when we start to play, I bring the finger on the string and I hit the string and it sounds. In this way we are not able to produce very loud sound, and we are also not able to produce a good control sound, not rich sound, and of course it's very difficult to get any colors out of it. Now we'll go to the planting itself, and there will be a video where you can see my right hand very close doing planting. The idea of this technique is that when you play with one finger, for example, we start with a P, you prepare the next finger as quick as possible. So it's some kind of reflex, fast, immediate reflex that you get. So your goal is to avoid the gap between two notes, between two movements, and in the moment where you hit the string with a thumb, you put right after that, like a flash, your I finger, if you have PI. If you have PM, you do the same with the middle finger. Now we play with the P and then you go immediately to the M. Or the same also with the A finger, we play with the thumb and then we put immediately the A finger on the string. This feels like a real reflex. This is not the movement where you think a lot and that you do very comfortable with enjoying the drive. The movement should be very, very quick, and it should look for you a bit artificial, like robot-like. I recommend you to exaggerate these movements, and first to choose one couple that you take on the loop. For example, we take P and I, and you try to develop this quick movement until you are absolutely sure that it works and that it feels safe. If you do it for the first time, that might feel like finger doesn't really know where to go, and it's just losing connection, and it's not sure, and just asking, are you sure I need to go there? Maybe I don't want to, or a bit later. Try to exaggerate this movement and try to do it as quick as possible. So you practice the connection between different fingers. When we talk about the typical arpeggio combination like P-I-M-A, we also check this quick preparation between all the fingers. Yeah? So it doesn't matter if you go from P to I or you go from I to M. All of them should work with the same speed. The same thing happens when you play on one string. If you don't play arpeggio, if you play just on one string, you can see it right now in the third video. So we go, for example, on the G string, and I have A-M-I. You play one note and you bring your next finger immediately on the string. So it stays ready there until you play the next one. If you play it on the same string, it sounds like staccato. Yeah, that is also how you can check it. If you practice it on this one string, take care that all notes sound the same, that all of them have the same length. It's also very important that it doesn't sound like one long and one very short. They should be absolutely similar, and it will mean that the preparation of all fingers works properly. Just one question from Karen. What do you think about Apollando? I heard that today it is not considered important. Apollando is, we are talking, of course, when we talk about planting, it's much more about tirando playing. Apollando is from another box, and it always depends what do you play right now. Apollando is nice, but it's, in my opinion, you should use it more like color, and you should use it more for expression. Or if you, for example, play in duo and you would like to play your melodical part especially loud, that you go through the accompaniment of your partner, then it makes definitely sense to play it with Apollando. But in generally, by 96, 97, 98% of the music we use tirando. Of course, I'm talking right now about mostly about classical part. In flamenco music, it is usual to use a lot of Apollando. They have different ideal of sound, and because of that, you need this very fat, strong, sometimes also noisy sound, extreme sound, and of course, Apollando there is absolutely necessary. But we are talking now a bit about another topic, so I will come back. We were talking about preparation on the same string and taking care that all the notes has the same length. The next point is, I already mentioned it, that the movement should be very quick, extremely quick, exaggerated quick. It should be very exactly, so you need to take care that your finger goes straight to the right string without any hesitation, and it's some kind of reflex. In the beginning, when you practice it and you first try it out, it feels probably a bit weird and unusual, but as more you will do it, as better it will get, and after a while it will be like autopilot and you will not have any need to think about it. You will just have in your tool section a special button for planting, and when you press it somewhere here in the head, your fingers know perfectly what they need to do and you don't need to control it at all. The last but not least point when we talk about arpeggio, when we take, for example, P-I-M-A combination, it's clear that when we go up, we prepare from P to I. We prepare I finger, then we prepare M finger, then we prepare A finger, and now it's very important not to forget about the thumb when we go back. So here is video number 4, and you can see exactly the conclusion, or if you go in the repetition, if you play this arpeggio in circle, don't forget about the P. The transition from A to P is the same, has the same importance as all others, but it's something that I see very often by my students. They are taking care about going high to the A, and then they play A, and thumb is somewhere but not on the right string, not prepared, and of course if you don't do it, you lose time, you slow down, and you lose the control. So take care that you practice also the preparation of the P very well. About how to practice planting, which exercises are good and helpful there, how many you need to do them and how you do them. About all these practical things we will talk at my next masterclass that will take place on 4th of March. That is Thursday in several weeks. This masterclass takes traditionally on Patreon place, so you have enough time to go to there and to check my Patreon, and there you will also find all my previous masterclasses about barre, about practical tips, how to practice efficiently, the schedule there, left hand, huge amount of left hand exercises, and many other great stuff. So feel free to check it. And on 4th of March, we'll talk on Patreon about exercises and practicing planting. So we continue now, and we go to the next point, and just a short, I see there are a few more questions. There is one question from Twinyet Nidbula. How do you get legato sound when doing planting? That is a good question, great question. It depends where you apply planting. If you play on the same string, of course, then it will not sound legato. It sounds more either articulated or it sounds staccato. And the area on the topic where we can apply planting. And of course, it's not like we play all music, all things only with planting. Of course, no. It's just a tool that will be used a lot, but not everywhere. And if you have a super romantical part where you need a super legato and you play the melody on one string, that is very important, then you will not apply planting. But if we play any chords, I can play them perfectly legato, but using continuously preparation, our planting. And it is an absolutely must. So if you have any arpeggio parts, don't hesitate to use planting, because it will not only it will not disturb your legato, but it will even support it, because you will get much more flow. So we'll also talk about where to apply planting. I will show you concrete cases a bit later, so stay there and you will get the full answer at your question. So from Claude, how does planting translate into real musical movement? If I understand your question right, planting is there nothing different than the movement of the finger that you do. Maybe you can remember the first video that I show you without planting. So as well as you play without planting, arpeggios or scales or chord changes, as well you apply planting. So actually it doesn't disturb the flow of the music, it just brings you more security in the right hand. As I said, we'll go back to this point just a bit later. I will show you the different techniques where you can apply it. So let's continue. The next point, what? What does it mean, what? Planting itself, it's of course in the first stroke, it's about right hand and about preparation of the fingers of the right hand. But here is my small insider tip, something that has a big influence also on the flow, but that you probably not understand directly under planting, but you could call it like planting. We talked about right hand, but what about left hand? We play actually with two hands. Can we apply planting on the left hand? If we say that planting is preparation of the finger, then the answer will be yes. And it's something that I would like you to think about and to try out. The left hand has the same fingers. Their movements are a bit different, but in the left hand, we are also talking about putting finger on the string or changing chord or playing a melody. And preparation in the left hand is an essential ability to speed up your playing and to close the most of your gaps between the chords or between difficult transitions. I just give you thought to think about how you can apply planting in the left hand, how you can prepare fingers in the left hand, and of course that will work a bit more different than the right hand, because in the left hand we cannot put finger really on the string before we play it. Sometimes it's just impossible. But what if we will talk about not plant the fingers on the strings, but when we will talk about planted in the air? What about that in the left hand? Did you ever try to do it? Can you imagine for yourself to plant your fingers for the next chord or for the next note in the air, so they are already ready to play the next note? Give me your short feedback. I'm very excited to hear what do you think about that, but it's anyway a big treasure box. Question from AISMCCC. Do you have a song to practice this technique? This technique is definitely not to practice it one concrete song. As I said, you can apply it almost in each song you play. Doesn't matter which one. Maybe one exception would be if you play when you play super legato one voice piece, then probably that will not be the case. But in all other cases, as soon as you play with more than one finger, or you have some kind of arpeggios, or you use different strings, you can apply it. About practicing, it is necessary to play all new techniques first in an absolutely simple way. To do it on the open strings without left hand, so your full concentration goes only on the movement, because you can imagine as soon as you have a real song to play or any difficult progression, in this particular moment when you play this song, there are so many things going on in your hand. You think about rhythm, you need to think about right notes, you need to think maybe about what comes as next if you memorize it. You need to think about chord transition, you need to think about the stupid bar chord that you struggle with. And all these thoughts are going through your head permanently. And where can you find there enough space to think about your right hand and about each single movement? As soon as you have so many tasks in the same time, at least one hand should work automatically. So it doesn't work to practice it at one particular piece. First, start with very simple exercises, open strings, maybe one string, then try to build it up to take your left hand, just keep simple chords, playing arpeggio, and taking care that all the fingers prepare themselves perfectly. And only then you can take maybe a very simple, short part of any song you prefer and try to check how it works there. But first of all, you need to build up some kind of a fundament before you go to the song. So there are some more questions I see. From Adam. Hi Tatyana, I'm wondering if you are trying to have the longest sound of notes and pieces you are playing. Like there is one note quarter, and after this time you are still press the finger on mute sound. One more time, trying to have the longest sound of notes and pieces you are playing. Like there is one note, quarter note, and after this time you are still press the finger on mute at the sound. It depends on the piece and on the part in the piece. Concrete. If you need to play it legato, of course you will not mute it, and of course you will not keep your finger on the string. If you need to play fast and you need to have very short, exactly fast notes, then you will mute it by doing preparation. Anyway, so it's I cannot answer this in general. It's very specific. You need to know exactly place. So actually, if we talk about the melody, very often we talk about playing legato and keeping the notes as long as possible. I must say, from my teacher experience, there are very, very rare the case that student plays the notes too long, and that they need to be cut. Very often it's the way around, that the notes are too short because of the strange chord transition or uncomfortable spot, or because of the speed, or because you're unsure. So the general tendency is, without knowing you, without knowing how you play, without knowing about which piece we talk, if you want to have a general answer, I would say yes, try to keep them as long and as legato as possible, and then all the nuances I need to see and hear directly, concrete. From Thomas, must you plant your thumb when playing scale passages, rest of free stroke? I would say yes. Even just I think I understood you right. Just for everybody else, even if we play scales without using sums, so if you do it only with MI or AMI, it's necessary to plant the thumb. My personal experience, my personal taste, and my recommendation to you. So if you will plant the thumb first on the bass string and then you will let it move and follow all the other fingers when you play, it will give you much more securance in the right hand. Once again, if you have troubles, you will avoid shaky hands with this simple addition with only because of the planting of the thumb, and that will give you a new power to get louder sound. So many plus points for planting thumb during scales, but if you do, please let the thumb follow all other fingers. What doesn't work so very nice when you plant it once on the 6th string, for example, when you play C major scale, and then you let it stay and you go to the first E string. Not so really good. No, let the thumb follow all others. So now one other question from Nifel. It's probably the comment about planting of the left hand fingers. Well, planting in the ear would greatly reduce the time you'd need to have the left hand ready by the time you need to play. Exactly. You have it. That is what we were talking about, and that is something that I can give you as homework. Try to figure out how planting for the left hand is working if you don't do it yet. So there is something that you can think about. Another question from I need to learn to read it. Tsvinyetnebula. I hope that's right. When doing planting, my fingers get stuck on the strings. There is no momentum. They are getting stuck on the strings. One question, do they getting stuck on the strings after planting or before planting? If after planting, that's not so bad. It means that the main movement were good and you could did it fast and your finger is already prepared. So that's not bad. If they are getting stuck on the strings and they don't want to release the tension and to get freedom for the next finger to go, then it's of course not so good. And I just can guess without seeing you, without hearing you, that either you use too much tension in your right hand, so you press so much and you're so much under pressure there that it's just difficult for you to release a finger. Because when we talk about preparation, it's not about this quick placing movement, it's also about release. We need to release the previous finger, and it's about relaxation. So this could be point to work on. Ed Fry, what about overplanting? This is something I'm guilty of. Overplanting is a rare disease, but it happens. If you're a lucky one, congratulations. How to overcome it? Forget about planting. If you want to reduce it, first of all, not to do it less, but just forget about it. And then maybe you can reduce 20 or 30% of it. And it will mean that you will be exactly in the right area. So you still have planting, but it's not a trouble, but it's something really good. Okay, we continue. We have answers to the question what, right? And we talked also a bit about left hand. And now we go to the point where. where can we use planting? Where is it useful? Where does it make sense? So you will see right now, and you picture, and you list. And the first point, of course, are arpeggios. Where do we use planting? By playing arpeggios. It doesn't matter what combination you have in arpeggio. That could be this one, P-I-M-A. That could be A-M-I-P. That could be P-I-A-M-I. That could be... Also, by the way, finger picking by acoustic guitar. Also, one thing where it might be useful when you don't feel sure about your right hand and you would like to get a bit more security there and a bit more confidence and sound control. So anyway, that is also that you can apply also an acoustic guitar. So any string pickings using different strings, one after another one, perfect place where you can always use planting. So it doesn't disturb the feeling of legato. Even more, if you plant, you can avoid some gaps, and it will help you to keep the flow of the music. So any kind of arpeggios, good. The next point, fast scales. We are back at the topic, at the point where we said you will be able to play faster. So when we talk about fast scales, using planting, you reduce the gaps between the notes, and it helps you to increase the tempo. How does it work by scales? Just the same planting, the planting on the same string. So for example, when we have C major scale and you start with the A finger, you play A, M, I. You play with the A and you put already your middle finger. Then you play with the M and you put already your I finger. And then something interesting comes. We need to change the string. And in the next moment where you... So that will be from M to I. You play the D note with the M finger. And then you would have your E with the I. That will be perfect spot also to prepare your finger. In this way you can be sure nothing can happen, and if you want to play fast, in the fast tempo you will not hear that the sound is short. So don't be afraid that, okay, actually it sounds very staccato. If you play quicker, nobody will hear that the notes are short. It will sound, the notes will have concrete borders and it will sound very good and suitable. So fast scales. Another point is uncomfortable string crosses, and in generally string crosses. What is it? Sometimes in the piece there is a quite stupid fingering that you cannot avoid, and for example, you play the G string with the M finger, with the middle finger, and then the next note you need to play with the I finger, the B. So we have M on G string and I on B string. That is what is called uncomfortable string crosses. It doesn't feel natural. Natural would be the way around, I and then M, but sometimes it doesn't work, so we need to keep this one. And this uncomfortable fingering, they are always a trouble spot. And you practice and practice and practice it, and when you play it in the piece, you struggle with it. So one of the good keys to open this door is to plant your next finger. So always when you have uncomfortable fingering that you cannot avoid and that you cannot change, then think about preparation. It helps you to find the right string, and so you overcome the trouble of that the finger doesn't know where to go to, because uncomfortable feeling, that is something that you do very rare, and because of that, that is not saved somewhere in the finger memory. And if it is there, if you need to do it, there is no database now where it can take and say, oh, okay, I did it already thousands of times, so I just repeat it. Something completely strange. So placing the finger, planting it, you will avoid this trouble. Next point are all fingerings like PI, PM, PA. All combinations that are around P and any other finger. It's not particular arpeggio in this way. It could be just could be beginning of any piece. It could be somewhere in the middle, or for example, when you have first the long bass with the P, and then you have A as a melodical note, and you go down. In all these cases, that is very good, and it feels right to use planting. You will see now once again the video, so you can see my hand concrete. Video number 5 should be there, and you will see there the connection between PI, PM, and PA preparation. It feels really good, and these are the parts that can make your playing much more stable and much more sure. These connections are very often in the spots where you have, for example, bass, and then the melody starts. So these moments are always very important, because it's pity to miss the melodical note, because everybody is just looking for it, and because of that, it's good if you can already plan it. I do it by myself everywhere. In this kind of connections, PI, PM, PA, I do it always. And in generally, it feels good, but also in the concerts, it's just like the island of security. So, of course, it works also when you go back, not only from PI, but also, for example, when you have the connection IP or MP or AP. The same rule as we said, don't forget thumb. Thumb is the same finger as other. The next point is chords. The next point we can use and apply planting are chords. Any chords progressions, it doesn't matter if they consist only of 2 notes or if you have full chord. Especially if they need to sound more chunky, if they need to sound more bouncy, if they need to sound more articulated, that is good to prepare the fingers. In this case, you just see what you play right now. For example, I play PIMA, 4 notes with all fingers, and then I know I will jump. I need to replace my thumb on the 6th string, and all other fingers stays on the same spot, and I prepare them already earlier, so you can see I still haven't played the chord, but my fingers are already there, they are ready to play. And once again, you increase the speed with it, you increase the security of playing, and you will get much more power. And of course, musical side, articulation, it sounds more bouncy. Next point, tremolo. Of course, when we talk about tremolo, we talk about fast, quick playing. And we said that playing tremolo is something about very, very quick movements. So anyway there, it's perfect time to use planting, to use preparation. Of course, it's impossible to do it just to start to play fast and then think about planting. That will not work. It's you need to start to work slow. For example, and you take care that you prepare carefully each next finger, and then all of the notes sound with the same length. And only when you are able to do it with a good quality in a slow tempo, you start to speed up, and then you go to your final tempo. So tremolo, also very, very good, very helpful using planting. Next point, articulated spots. We were talking about that a bit about in the area of chords, but it's also when you need to articulate. What we do, we stop the strings, we damp them, and that is also some kind of planting. Maybe you did it till now a lot intuitive. Now it's time to do it very concrete. And next point, transitions from single finger to the chord and from the chord to the single finger. Also something probably not obvious, but very helpful, and it comes a lot in the music, where you, for example, play first with the I finger, and then you need to hit your strings with A and M, like some kind of chord, small chord. Also, in this part, it's very useful to use planting. You will see now also one video about that, now video number 6. So when we play with the I finger, we already put M and A on the strings, and also later the way around. Now when you go from the chord to a single note, also it's a perfect spot for using planting. So in this way you can be sure that all the transitions, everything what you do in your right hand feels safe, and you have the full control over it. And the last point, last but not least, by nervousness. If you feel nervous, if you are excited, if you're under stress, and you notice there are many things going on, I'm losing control, it doesn't sound well, what should I do? I want to bring my usual home feeling back. Quite a good thing is that helped me also a lot to switch on the planting modus for a longer time. And longer time, I mean something starting from half of a minute till minute, maybe 2 minutes. What does it mean? When you start to play the piece and you feel very, very shaky about it, now you lose control, switch on planting and concentrate yourself during playing this piece on exaggerated preparation of all fingers. If you will do it in a faster tempo, it will sound probably in the melodical line a bit more articulated than it used to be. That is not so offensive probably at any other piece, so it depends on piece, but if you need in this concrete moment here and now, you need to get your control back over your fingers. That is perfect things to do, and it helps a lot. How does it work? As soon as you start to concentrate yourself on the planting during playing, first of all, you turn your attention from these crazy things like, oh, it sounds so awful, there are so many people sitting in front of me, and actually I could play it much, much better at home. So concentrate yourself on a concrete thing that you do. So because of that, the level of the nervousness already starts to fall down. Secondly, when you do planting, your playing becomes automatically much more clean and much more sure. You miss strings less, you have better sound, and of course you start to notice that. So you hear, it sounds much better right now, and this thought also calms you down. Yeah, in addition to the first one where you just were on the another point. And after you're calmed down for a while, your hand doesn't shake so much anymore. So it's a good medicine against shaky hands. If you need it right now, right here, just switch it, concentrate yourself, and keep it for a while until you notice that you're calm down again and you're able to continue to enjoy the music. I see there are some questions there. Let me check them. When planning to play louder, do you press the string farther or plant by hitting the string harder? No, it's not about hitting the string harder. The volume is about pressing the string toward the hole. So we press the string inside of the guitar, so to say. You need to see that the string dive into like it wants to dive into the hole, and it becomes lower than all other strings, and by making the pressure you will become the louder sound, not by hitting the string hard. That's the right way. From Jesse, do you never use your thumb for scales, or when is the thumb used for scales? If you mean playing with thumb scales, then I don't do it so often, or it's more exception than the rule. If I really include thumb in my scales, just because of the one simple reason, two simple reasons. I will start with the first one. Thumb has always complete different sound than other fingers. It sounds differently on the trebles. I can try to make them as close as possible, yeah? As similar as possible. I know how to do it, but it's quite a lot of adaptation. No? You need to adapt many things. On the bass strings, it also sounds different. And usually when we play scales, we need to create a line. Line means we need to have the same volume or a very similar volume, and we need to have the same color. And because thumb has always different color and different volume, volume you can adapt, different color, it just breaks the line and it falls apart. Because of that, I don't use it, and another reason, I don't like this feeling of switching from thumb to another finger on the same string. But it's something personal. From Elton, do you use your pinky finger tremolos? No, not really. I use it for sciatos very often, but for tremolo, you know that the usual tremolo consists always of 4 notes. You have thumb on the bass, and then you have AMI. That's more or less the most traditional way to play tremolo. So for this case, you don't need any other finger. But I can imagine that it's definitely could be a nice thing to practice, because in that way you can also develop your ring finger as a side effect. Did we have some troubles about video number 6? No, that was, do you mean in the description? From Eric, the video number 6 wasn't in description, that was just on the screen of the live stream. In the description there will be, or there is already, I need to check the link to the video about flying and standing stroke that I mentioned in the beginning. From Douglas, is it okay to practice tremolo when doing scales? is it okay to practice tremolo when doing scales? If I understand the question right, to be able to practice tremolo when you do scales, you would need at least 2 guitars and 4 hands, or 2 right hands, or 2 left hands, if you're left-handed. Maybe you mean something different by tremolo, or you mean something different scales. I know, I have it now. Took a while. If you mean to practice scales, yes, that works. That is fine. That is, probably you wouldn't call it as tremolo. It's more like about practicing with 3 fingers, having 3 notes, then you have 2 notes, you can have 4 notes. It's more from this box, but it's definitely good. It's not so close to the real tremolo you will have later in the pieces when you have a tremolo piece, because in the usual tremolo we have a lot of thump also with jumps, and we don't have so many string changes. But anyway, as a part of tremolo practicing, that's good, but not as only one. From Jan, would you practice the tremolo on the B string rather than the E string? It's harder on the B string. I notice your thumbnail is short. Yes, my thumbnail is short. And it's harder. It's harder to play tremolo on B string. And if you notice that it's much harder, that it makes sense to do it more often, so it becomes easier. Of course. Personally, I really don't like play tremolo on B string. It's not my favorite part in the pieces, and but it's always good to practice it in single exercises. Anyway, it makes sense. There are some more questions from Yikong. Hi Tatyana, one question: how to avoid the noises when we change position from the left hand on E, R and D strings, probably. Good question. When you talk about position change, first of all, you need to understand what produces the noise. And first of all, if you hear these scratchy noises on your basses, it's because your finger slides along the string. It doesn't matter how far it slides. No? It shouldn't be half a meter. It could be only 1 millimeter, one super small movement, but you already will hear this noise. To be able to avoid this noise, you need to avoid sliding with your finger on the string. It sounds easy, not so often easy to do. You need to take care. Usually it's combination when you, for example, change the position, yeah, from here to there. Yeah? When I play the first note, and you would take a look at my left hand very close, you would see that before I start to move my hand down, before I do it, first I release my finger and take it off, so it's over the string. Then I slide as far as I need, and when I already arrive and I stop, only then I put my finger on the string and press. So in this way I avoid sliding in this area and sliding by arriving. So that is actually something very simple, but in fast tempo it's a bit difficult to think. But you need to imagine the movement of the finger looks like, not like, for example, this is your finger, no? You press the string and then you move toward the next note. This will not be like a bow, because if you do a bow, you have here and there a point where you slide along the string and you produce noise. What you need to have is you put your finger up, then you jump, and then you put your finger down, just under 90 degrees to the string. Then you will not have any noises. Another trick maybe to think about, sometimes if it's possible, you can damp your string where you slide, and in this way you will also avoid some part of the noises. Not always we can apply it, but sometimes it helps. Let me check. There is a question from Nielsen. Why don't you use a more discrete ergonomic support, that of the acrylic plate behind the guitar? We will not name, call the name. I will not call the name, but I tried this one, where it was really played behind the guitar, and maybe it looks more discreet. Yeah, you are right, but I didn't like the feeling. First of all, it was absolutely horrible for me here, horrible feeling on my leg. It was just like cutting into it, and it felt so uncomfortable. First of all, and secondly, it released from time to time, and it was complete feeling of insecureness, and it was just like, oh, am I holding the guitar or not? Because of that, I use ErgoPlay. I feel very comfortable with it, and it works perfectly for me. Seventh fret and then stretch to the 11th fret on the from Silky 47th Smith. How do you do planting in the very beginning section of Romanza, where you have to bar across the 7th fret and then stretch to the 11th fret on the high E string? This part. If we talk about planting in the right hand, then you do it in the same way as in the beginning. You have the same arpeggio A, M, I. So after you have played the A, you prepare M. When you play the M, you prepare I, and then you place your A on the first string. If you talk about planting in the left hand, you see what happens to be able to hit this D sharp in the right time. I just right after I release my third finger and play this B on the bar, right in that moment I stretch completely my fourth finger, so it's already ready. It's planted in the air, and in the next moment I'm just ready to play it, and I don't have any gap. Sean Ben Tung, recommend me a guitar. I can recommend you at least 2 guitars. I don't know your budget. I don't know what kind of guitar do you like. If you're a professional player, or if you're intermediate player, hobby guitarist or beginner. If you are hobby guitarist, beginner, or a bit advanced, anyway, I can recommend you a great instrument made by Raimundo Guitars, and it's called Black Limba signature model Tatyana Ryzhkova. It's really a wonderful instrument for a small price, absolutely great quality and very good sound, and it looks amazing. So highly recommend it. And if you have bigger budget and you would like to have something really exclusive, then that will be for sure the guitars by Michael Bruck. German guitar luthier. They are double tops and they are absolutely high top end models. Really, really great. If you are interested in any of this guitar, you can let me know for more information. From Yesit, hi, how I can practice this planting with students of level basic. How to practice this planting? I will show you exactly with exercises, and we'll do it even together in the real time. We'll do it on 4th of March at my masterclass on Patreon. I will do it on the topic planting, and we will cover the full practical part of how to practice planting, which exercises, how to include it in the piece, and you will get a real feeling after that in your right hand what is it about. So if you're interested, don't miss it on 4th of March on my Patreon page. Masterclass is exactly what you need. From John, planting seems kind of like muting. Doesn't it get in the way of playing note length? It seems to be like that, but only if you do it on the same string. Then we mute the strings, of course, because we put other finger on that. But it's not about cutting the string as soon as you plant on different strings, like string crosses or arpeggio that I talked about. If I play it in two ways, like that, and that, I think you cannot say that the second version sounds really cutted, no? That it sounds like a mute something. It still has the flow, and very often you are still able to play legato, but it's more about security in the right hand and getting better control over your sound. So we'll do maybe the last question. There is from maybe two from Jeff. How do you spell that guitar name? Which guitar do you mean? The first one was by Raimundo, and it was signature model black Limba Tatyana Ryzhkova that I developed in collaboration with Raimundo. And I will put a link in the description under this video so you can check it immediately. You can also hear it. By the way, this is one. Actually, I keep it in my hands. It feels so natural that I don't think it's something external. Yeah, that's it. That it's this black Limba guitar, and take a look with a beautiful black Limba wood, and each piece is absolutely unique because each one has a different ornament, but each one looks really amazing and sounds good. Sounds very good and very easy to play. That was one, or another one was by Michael Bruck, Bruck. Bruck. And it's double top guitars. Usually Michael makes the double top guitars. And here is the last question by Jan. Are the double top guitars much heavier? If we talk about weight, no. No, they're not heavier. I missed the word, but I will come back to it. They're not heavier. The Bruck guitars are the lightest guitars I have ever seen and tried, and that is also one of the things why I enjoy them so much, because I don't like to carry heavy things, and if you take the case with the Bruck guitar, you if you're not used, you will first be surprised if there are any guitar in the case at all. They are really, really light, but the sound is like power machine and very colorful. Okay, the very last question. Bernd, during planting, do you first put the flash on the string and the nail comes later? Not only during planting, but during all the playing process, yes. You put the finger on the string, you plant it on the spot that you will use for playing. So it's not like I put first flash and then I need to adapt it and then I'm able to play. As soon as you put it, you need to be ready to play it immediately. And yes, it's first flash and then you slide to the nail. So we are so far. Thank you so much for joining me today. Thank you so much for your active participation, for the questions. I hope very much that there were some interesting and useful information for you. You know, the information having information doesn't make any difference. The difference makes using and applying this information. So I can only encourage you to take the guitar and try it out, what we were talking about. And I'm waiting for you on 4th of March on my Patreon page for Masterclass and for practicing planting, practicing preparation, and making your right hand sure, strong, and to enable you to make a beautiful sound. So we'll talk about this on 4th of March. And next week on Friday 26th, I will play a concert. You know, it's Corona time. So this concert should take place in Germany with audience, but because of the situation, the audience will not be there, but I will be there and I will play the concert, and we will make a live stream of this concert. So on 26th of Friday, 26th of February, on Friday at 7 p.m. German time, there will be live stream on my Patreon page. So you are very welcome to join me there during this concert. I'm already very excited and looking forward to it. So these are the coming events, and thank you so much once again for support on Patreon. You make all these free tutorials possible, and I can share my knowledge with everybody and to put this information for free on YouTube. Thank you very much for being here. Thank you very much for your attention and for your support. I'm looking forward to read all your comments already. Don't forget to put like. Don't forget to subscribe if you're not subscribed here, so you will not miss my new videos. And of course, don't forget and feel free to share this video with your friends. Thank you so much. It was great to have you here. I wish you a wonderful evening or day or morning, and have a great weekend, and see you next week on Patreon at my live concert. Bye bye.